Okay, video 5 of my revision questions. So here are the questions that I've picked out. There are some questions where you're expected to draw things. So what I would do is either just picture what you would actually do or write down what you would do. I mean, bonus points if you can draw it, but you don't have to. I would literally just look at the problem. The key thing is making sure you understand it. Just for like if there's any Key Stage 3 people watching, I'd recommend probably skipping the first 3 questions and looking at question 4 onwards. So again, that little annoying reminder that if you're watching on touchscreen, you can pinch on the screen to zoom in if you need to. So I'm about to reveal the answer to these questions. Just before I do, just in case anyone doesn't watch any further, because I usually say it at the end, if there's a certain thing you want in a video, please comment it and I'll make sure it's included. Okay? Right, I'm going to reveal the answers, so if you don't want to see them, pause the video now, and then I'm going to talk through how you get all of them. So, on the first one, you should have a vertical line that has 4 labelled on the x-axis. That's a 2-mark question, so you, get 1 mark for a vertical line and 1 mark for 4 on the x-axis. Question 2, you need a curved line, you'll get 1 mark for that, another mark for identifying 3 as your y-intercept. Question 3, so the things wrong with the sketch. Firstly, it should not touch the x or the y-axis, that's 1 mark. And secondly, it does have a negative part, which I've drawn in there. So the negative part of the graph is missing. That's the second thing you need to say to get the second mark. Question 4, simplify. Nice question in my opinion. So collect the x's together. I'm not explaining it, I'm just saying the answers aren't nice. So the answer is 2x plus 3y. Question 5 is 2x plus 18. Question 6, you can have 32 or you can have 36, so either of those for the 1 mark. Question 7, all the factors of 28, so it's 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. I'll say those again. The factors of 28 are 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. You'll get 2 marks if you've got all of them, and 1 mark if you've just got probably 4 or more is what I would guess. I mean, it, again, just depends how nasty they've been on that given year. Question 8, the first 7 prime numbers, so the ones you're expected to remember, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and the one after that is 17. So I'll say those again. The prime numbers you should have written down are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and also 17 as well. Your cube numbers for question 9 are 1, 8, 27, and for question 10, the final answer is 63. So I'm going to delve into kind of like where all of these answers have come from or what you need to do for these problems. So if you're not sure, keep watching and hopefully I can explain how you do a certain thing. Otherwise, feel free to comment if you want a certain thing again, or just leave the video if you're happy with everything. So on question 1, oh, I'm getting excited. You need to have, I mean, I always say if it's x equals, it must go through the x-axis. So my line goes through the x-axis. This is a vertical line, it goes straight down or straight up. And it cuts through the x-axis at 4. All of the x values along that line will be x is 4, x is 4, x is 4, x is 4. So therefore, this is the equation of the line x equals 4. On question 2, y equals x squared. Hopefully you know that x squared is a curved graph. So this is not a perfect representation, but you'll still get the marks for it. A curved graph, it must also have a negative part to it, so make sure there's a curve on both sides. And whatever the constant term is, so remember a term is part of a calculation, so that's one term, that's another term. Whatever the constant term is, so that's the number on its own. I've got a splinter that keeps bothering me. Whatever the constant term is on its own, that will be your y-intercept. So the y-intercept of this one is 3, so I must label 3 on the y-axis. Question 3 then says, shown is a student sketch of y equals 1 divided by x. So you need to remember for your exam that this is a reciprocal graph, which basically means it's got a divide in it. I've got the variable, the letter, on the denominator, so therefore this is a reciprocal graph. They can change those numbers on the numerator and denominator to confuse you, but wherever you get a variable on the denominator of a fraction, your graph is going to look something like this. So as I've said, it shouldn't touch the x or the y-axis. It should be like this, where it doesn't touch and doesn't touch, basically because you can't divide by 0, so it should not touch the axes at 0. And the other thing, yeah, I've put in the negative part of that diagram. So this is the positive part of this reciprocal graph, and you need the negative part as well. So 1 mark for each of those points. Question 4, to simplify by collecting like terms, we need to add the x's together. So 5x and then a minus 3x. So 5 take away 3 gives you 2, that's 2x. And then we've got the minus 7y add 10y. Minus 7 add 10 gives you 3. So the final answer is 2x plus 3y. It's a 2-mark question. So you get 1 mark for getting the correct coefficient of x, so the number in front of x. And you'll get another mark for getting the correct coefficient of y, so the number in front of y. So 1 mark, 2 marks. Question 5 says multiply out. That's very specific to OCR. For some reason it's always worded like that. If you're on AQA or even on OCR, it can sometimes say expand. If it says expand, you must remember that's the same as multiply out. You basically have to times what's on the outside with what's on the inside. So 2 times x makes 2x, and 2 times 9 makes 18. So the final answer, 2x plus 18, that is just a 1-mark question, that one. Question 6 says to write down a multiple of 4 between 30 and 40. So multiples of 4 are your 4 times tables. If I list all the 4 times tables quicks, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, so that's up to 10. And we need to pick any of them between 30 and 40. So you can have either 32 or 36. Any of those is fine, and that's just a 1-mark question. Question 7 says to write down all the factors of 28, so they're all listed there. I'll not read them again. This is the method I would recommend for finding factors. So I would write 28 with a T underneath it like this, and you always start with the number 1. So how many times does 1 fit into 28? Well, it fits in 28 times. Next, I'm going to check for the number 2. So you might be able to see straight away it fits in 14 times. If you're really not sure, you could list some 2 times tables, and I'm going to tell you a trick in a minute. So if I go all the way up to 28, you can count these multiples. If you count them, you are going to get 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Goes all the way up to 14. So 2 times 14 makes 28. That's another way you can think of it. The trick I want to teach you is if you've got 2, you can half the number. So half of 2 makes 1, half of 4 makes... Oh, goodness me, let me try again. Half of 2 makes 1, and half of 8 makes 4. So 2 times 14 makes 28. Next, we should check for number 3. You might know straight away it's not in the 3 times tables, so you could just cross it out. If you're not sure, you list some 3 times tables. So I'm listing my 3 times tables. I've gone all the way up to 30. See, I've got 27, I've got 30, but 28 is not included. So because it's not in the 3 times tables, I'm going to cross it out. Next, I need to check for the 4 times tables. So list some 4 times tables, and I can see that, whoops, 28 is in the 4 times tables, and it fits in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So 4 times 7 makes 28. Next, you should check the 5s. It might be really obvious that's not in the 5 times tables, particularly because it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. So you can, again, list your 5 times tables. See, I've got 25, I've got 30, but 28 is not included. So 5 is not in there. I'm crossing it out. Next, you should check 6. Again, it's not in the 6 times tables if we list some 6s. So I've got 24 and 30. There is no 28. So I'm crossing out 6. Now, I could do 7. I don't actually need to check 7 because I've already got 7 listed. So I've found all the factors of 28. We've got 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. I know this can seem like a bit of a long method, but using this method, you're going to make sure you don't miss any of those numbers, and you must have all of them to get 2 marks. Question 8 says to write down the first 7 prime numbers. So the ones you have to remember for your exams are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. I would literally just keep repeating those in your head until they're stuck in there. Ask yourself every day, what are the prime numbers? And eventually the sound of it, same with your times tables, practice if you need to, and the sounds of how it sounds, I think that will get stuck in your head. Because I remember 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It's kind of just like a sound in my brain, basically, that I remember. And then you did need the one after that. So carrying on from 13, I suppose, 14 is not a prime number because it's in the 2s. 15 is not a prime number because it's in the 5s or the 3s. 16 is not a prime number because it's in the 2s, but 17 is a prime number because it's only in the 1 times table and the 17 times table. It's got 2 factors. You must remember for your exam that a prime number is a number with exactly 2 factors. That's the official definition. Question 9 says to write down the first 3 cube numbers. I know my class struggle with these. So your cube numbers are when you times the number by itself 3 times. The first one is 1 times 1 times 1. The second one is 2 times 2 times 2, and the third one is 3 times 3 times 3. So if we do 1 times 1 times 1, obviously 1 times 1 is 1, times it by 1 again, you get 1. So that's why the first number is 1. On the second one, 2 times 2 makes 4. If we do 4 times 2, that gives us 8. That's why the second cube number is 8. And for the third cube number, 3 times 3 makes 9. So I've got to do 9 times 3. That gives me 27, and that's why the final cube number out of these 3 anyway is 27. So 1, 8, 27. That's a 2-mark question. So you'll get 1 mark if you've got 2 of those numbers and 2 marks if you've got all 3. Final one says to work out 70% of 90. Whenever you get a percentage problem, particularly for my class, particularly if it's non-calculator, I always suggest you write 100% first. So in this problem, 100% is 90. And then we're going to break this down into something useful. Now, in this case, I'm actually going to go for 50% first because I know that's going to be handy. So half of 90 is 45, therefore 50% is 45. Next, I'm going to get 10% as a building block. So to get to 10% from 100, you can just divide by 10. We're going to do 90 divided by 10, which is 9. So therefore 10% is 9. Just to be clear what I did there, from this we're dividing by 10 and to that number dividing by 10 as well. Now to build up to 70, well, 50 add 10 makes 60. I need another 10. You could do 45 add 9 add 9. I'm actually going to go to 20% next. So I'm going to double this 10% and double this. Double 9 makes 18, so therefore 20% is 18. So to get my 70% of the number, I'm going to do the 50%, add the 20%, and that will add up to 70. So I've got to do 45 add 18. You might know that makes 63. If you're not sure, I'm going to show you how now. So I'm doing column addition with 45. I've got this 45 add this 18. So I've lined up my units column, lined up my tens. Doing 5 add 8, that gives me 13. I'm going to write 3 in the units column and carry the 1 over. Then I always do the bigger number first where you can. So 4 add 1 add 1, that gives us 6, which is why 70% is 63. So that's the answer to all these questions. I hope this was useful. Again, you've got 10 questions, so lots of things to practice. Again, if you want anything to appear in a future video, please let me know. Again, hope it was useful. Thank you so much for watching, and fingers crossed I'll see you again soon for another revision video.